Today we are completing our Respond page for plants we use. You should have already gone into your ebook and read pages 18 through 27. And now we are going to be answering these three questions. So question number 1 says, what text and graphic evidence supports the inference that plant materials must be processed in some way before they become products that are useful to humans? So right here, this word inference, we've talked about this word before. An inference is where you take text clues plus background knowledge and make an inference. So this type of question, it's not going to be right there in the text. It's going to be something that we find evidence and then combine that with what we already know to make an inference. And when it's talking about processing plants in some way, it means that you don't just, pick a plant out of the ground and say, well, now this is food or this is clothes or this is whatever. You have to process it. You might have to clean it. You might have to add it with other materials. You might have to take certain parts of it off and combine them with other parts. So processing is where you take the plants and make them into something useful. So let's go ahead and look in the text. It looks like we have to look in a couple places, pages 18 through 19, 21, and 23, to find places where they are processing plants. Okay, so I'm going to go here all the way back to page 18 and 19, and I definitely need to zoom in because this is very small for my eyes. There we go. Okay, so here it says, here it says plants provide the raw materials for making a variety of products. The clothes you wear, the rubber tires on cars, and the paper on which this book is printed all come from plants. Substances such as sap, gum, resin, oils, fibers, and bark are removed from plants and turned into other products. Right there, I feel like that's some of the evidence, is that we have to take parts of the plant off of the plant and then turn it into something else. They range from varnishes, paints, and disinfectants to oils used in perfumes and food flavorings. Chemically treating plant parts can produce products that neither look nor feel like plants. So here it says rubber, paint, and cork products come from plants. But see, they don't really look like plants anymore once they're made. So that's more evidence. They had to be processed or changed in order to become these products. Right here it says rayon is made by mixing cellulose with chemicals. Again, they have to mix the plant parts with chemicals to get the materials. It is easy to dye and wears well. The outer covering of plant cells is made of cellulose. Chemical compounds made from cellulose are used in adhesives, plastics, paints, foods, clothing, fibers, and photographic film. The clear paper known as cellophane is also made from cellulose. One of the most useful fibers made from cellulose is rayon. It is used mainly in furniture coverings and clothing. Rayon cord adds strength to tires. So here it's saying the final products don't look like plants, so that shows some processing had to have happened. And it also talks about adding chemicals to the plants, so that's also more evidence of processing. Let's go here, this part about paper. It says paper, which is made from trees, is one of the best example of a plant product that looks and feels nothing like a plant. So exactly, we all know that paper comes from trees, but have you ever walked up to a tree and just picked a piece of paper off of it? Of course not. It had to be processed, right? It says tree bark and water were mixed together and then drained on bamboo matting. Today, huge plantations of certain trees are grown specifically for the paper industry. Trees are cut down and transported to paper mills. There, the bark is stripped off and the wood is chipped. It is mixed with water to make a mushy pulp that is then flattened and dried. Different types of paper may have other ingredients added to them. Banknotes are strengthened with cloth, and cardboard is made from thick paper hardened with glue. So again, we're taking plants and adding other ingredients to them in order to make the products. So I feel like I really did see a lot of text evidence here of how plants are turned into other materials. So right here, let's write our answer. The evidence that supports the inference that plant materials must be processed in some way are that the products often do not look like the plants they came from. Also, chemicals, water, and other substances are usually added to the plant parts, to make the products. Okay. The evidence that supports the inference that plant materials must be processed in some way are that the products often do not look like the plants they came from. Also, chemicals, water, and other substances are usually added to the plant parts to make products. Okay, probably want to pause the video there and make sure you get all that down. Then we'll continue with number 2. Number 2 says, what are the 3 plant parts that can be made into clothing fibers? Okay, so we're going to be looking for a part talking about how plants are made into our clothes. So let's skip ahead here. I believe the answer lies on page 22. I can see right here it's talking about cotton, and that picture has a picture of the cotton plant. And you probably know a lot of your clothes and bedding and other types of cloth is made from cotton. It says plant fibers. Many plants contain useful fibers in their seeds, stems, and leaves. So this is one of those right there in the text. This tells us the 3 parts are the seeds, stems, and leaves that make clothing. So what are the 3 plant parts? The 3 plant parts that can be made into clothing fibers are, and you fill in the blank with the 3 I just told you. If you forgot, you can rewind the video or look in your text. Okay, let's move on to number 3. Now, number 1, I gave you the whole answer. Number 2, I gave you a sentence starter. Number 3, I'm just going to talk you through it, and you're going to need to write the whole sentence. What key details explain how synthetic medicines are different from natural plants? Synthetic usually means man-made. So how are the man-made medicines different from natural plants? Let's go to page 26 and see if we can find some information on synthetic medicines right here. It says Nature's Pharmacy. Today, many drugs are based on plants. New chemical processes are able to remove the active ingredients from plants. Scientists can also copy the substances found in plants and make synthetic medicines. It's right there. They're cheaper, and they're often cheaper than the natural medicines. So basically, how are the synthetic medicines different? Well, the scientists copy substances found in plants to make synthetic medicines. Almost this sentence right here is the answer. So synthetic medicines are different from natural plants because scientists have to copy the materials in natural plants to make them. And that is your Respond page for today. Good job, everyone.